Hey everybody, welcome to episode number 93 of the Geek Bytes podcast. I'm Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgar Acosta.
And every single podcast we bring you the round of the week's best geek and tech news. We discuss that news and of course anything else we're interested in.
Yeah. In geek news this week, we'll talk about changes to Netflix, a new streaming contender, ordering McDonald's from your phone, a funky looking Alpha 5, video game announcements, this week's trailer showdown, and much, much more.
Absolutely. But we're going to begin our show though with geek news.
All right, we begin with AT&T announced that this week that it's starting its own internet TV service called DirecTV now. It won't it won't count this service against your data cap. No 4K, up to 2 streams, doesn't have premium sports. AT&T is also offering HBO and Cinemax for an additional $5 a month each. So you're looking at about $35 a month for 60 channels. A little $50 a month for 80 channels. It seems just right. Then there's about $60 a month for 100 channels if you want to go big. And then of course there's $70 a month for 120 channels if you gotta have it. And it's available now.
Yeah, this is oddly enough a very reasonably priced streaming service. The only downside of course is that AT&T is zero rating it. So that's not great for net neutrality, but it seems like a great price for your consumers, especially if they're not counting this particular video service against your data cap on your cell phone. So kind of encouraging you to use it on your mobile platform, but they are also being kind of unfair against their competitors.
Oh, yeah. But to me, it's always been about what you really watch. Don't get me wrong. I was always very a basic channels kind of guy when I watched cable. Like the main channels that I would watch would be like Fox, Disney if kids around, Nickelodeon kind of thing, of course USA to watch my wrestling, Sci-Fi for wrestling and other geeky kind of stuff like that. And at the time, when a long time ago MTV showed music videos, I used to watch it for that too.
I would love to be able to buy specific channels for like a streaming service to my phone or to my television. This is kind of the closest thing we have at this point. There are other skinny bundle options for things like the Roku that you can do. We can kind of mix and match some stuff. But for the price, I'm like, this is pretty decent. I kind of hate to go back to even a cable-like service, even though it's not cable, it's streaming into your home over the internet, the same way that you do for Netflix or Hulu. It still feels very cable-ish to me, and that to me is like a downside. But you can't beat $5 for HBO or Cinemax. I mean, even their own like channel subscriptions like HBO Now is like $10 or $15 a month. Yeah. Same thing for Cinemax. So the price, I believe AT&T is subsidizing it.
If it has, of course, all the perks, hopefully, like a cable does with the on-demand and the streaming and other things on it, that's great. Like right now, I have who do I have? What's it called? Non-Time Warner is now Spectrum. If you the television.
Yep.
It allows me to stream. I can watch some cable channels outside the area if I'm like using my regular Wi-Fi service or I'm somewhere else, but it's only when I'm around my own home Wi-Fi is the only way I get all my channels.
Yeah, this would be a way to cut out the cable. You could still have cable internet, but you can cut out your cable package and just do it this way. And it might be cheaper if they have the channels that you want at this point. So unfortunately, there are no sports channels. So if you're a sports kind of guy, you might want to do it. But a quick shout out to some other kind of packages in our chat room. Marcos Barrios is watching.
Big package.
El Domingue Olvera. Hey, to both of you guys in the chat room. Our next story, however, is going to talk about a different streaming service, Netflix. Netflix has updated its Android and iOS apps this week to allow downloading of some movies and shows for offline viewing. If a show is available for download, it will have a down arrow next to it. A Netflix rep told Recode's Peter Kafka that Disney-owned video will not be available, including movies like Zootopia, and neither will Netflix Marvel collaborations like Jessica Jones or Daredevil. So you can't download those, folks.
Big pricey ones because of that Disney. I like it. I'm awesome. That's awesome to hear because there's few times unless you buy. This is my own experience when you buy a digital copy of whatever, you do have that option to download the movie itself and take it with you. For Netflix to offer that's awesome. I honestly,
Amazon has been doing this for a little while. So if you're a Prime subscriber and you get their streaming service, for the most part, most of their things are available to like download to your phone and watch later. So Netflix is kind of playing catch up a little bit here, but this has definitely been a feature that subscribers have wanted for a while.
Oh yeah, to me, this is kind of cutting out the middle bootleg man. Because before, yeah, you used to go to some shady dude, out your swamp meet or the parking lot at your carniceria / market, whatever, selling bootleg copies of whatever's. But now it's like, hey, dude, I'm already paying less than like $10 a month. I get to take the movies with me anywhere. I'm sorry, dude, it's harder times for you, but it's fun. It's fun. I like having that ability because I do have. Let's see, we are a T-Mobile people, so supposedly Netflix is free, so it's not crazy on our quote unquote for streaming, which I've been doing. Sometimes I just have it as for background noise. But I'd love to, like, when I'm on the road driving as the passenger, like to have something play, like visually instead of just, not that I don't like the sights and scenes of the freeway, watch a little something.
Yeah, I prefer podcasts or music over playing something. I get a little motion sick when I watch television in the car. So podcasts like our own tend to do a lot more for me entertainment wise, or even audiobooks or something like that.
But I like it. I just can't wait till see more titles. Of course, Disney, once they can get that locked.
Yeah, I love to see Disney titles that you could download at some point, but it's not available anywhere. So Disney's being pretty fair on that end.
Yeah. All right. If you guys like McRibs, guess what? McDonald's is finally gearing up to launch its mobile order and pay technology, meaning customers will be able to order and pay for their food from their smartphones, the company told Business Insider. The technology will start rolling out next year in the U.S. and international leads markets, which include Australia, Canada, France, the UK. McDonald's spokesperson Becca Harry said.
Yeah, this is kind of cool. If you were even lazier than possible, you don't want to go through the drive-thru, you just want to order it from your phone from the parking lot and you go in and get it later when it's ready, you can do that now. You don't have to wait in line. You can just order it from your phone. They also, in some of their establishments, have installed kiosks, so you can do a touchscreen thing, swipe with your card, pay for without having to talk to anybody at all. And they also have in some McDonald's a professional chef line where they're making it in front of you, apparently, in some really interesting combos because of their new online combo system where you're kind of designing your own meal. Sometimes you can come up with some really interesting combinations like fettuccine alfredo,
you saw that posting?
Pizza, some other things. Yeah. And so McDonald's is kind of classing it up in some areas for their menu.
Yeah, there's some even McDonald's where they actually sell booze, and I think that, of course, it's the European ones, but some are really classy out. Don't get me wrong, nothing against the Big Mac, cheeseburgers, and fries, but there's it's always awesome to hear there's more variety. The only thing that I noticed now, the only thing that's missing for the ultimate laziness, drone delivery.
That's what I was thinking. The exact thing. The only way it could be lazier is if you did it on your phone or your computer and it was delivered by drone to your house. Funnel. The way you never have to talk to anybody at all to get food ever again.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, fat camps will love this because they fat.
Because they fat.
Hey, I'm talking as a fat guy, so I'm not just knocking out the obese technical term.
Technical term. Okay, on to our first lovely video here. After about 3 months of a rough launch, No Man's Sky, that great video game with quadrillion galaxies to explore, is getting new modes and a ton of gameplay tweaks thanks to Update 1.1. With this patch, No Man's Sky is now broken up into 3 new modes. We have Normal, the original game. We have Creative, which is a base building mode with almost unlimited resources. And then you have Survival, which is a very challenging experience where you have to survive as long as possible in a much more hostile environment where things are more likely to try to kill you. So this is a little more entertaining for some people. The folks behind No Man's Sky say that patch 1.1, they're calling it the Foundation Update, and they claim it's going to be the first of many free updates. So this particular game has had some controversies. Like, people had really high expectations about it, and when it didn't fulfill some of those unreasonable expectations, some people actually sued the company claiming false advertisement. And even though the charges later dropped in the European Union, it kind of has that stigma of being an unfulfilled promise. So I think they did a really interesting job, but they actually just didn't respond to any of the complaints. They went silent until this patch was ready and like, hey, here's a little thing for you, like base building and more interesting things. and like the ability to create tech as you're walking along the planets. Because for a lot of people, the game didn't really seem to have a purpose or a storyline other than exploring and getting to the center of the galaxy. There wasn't like a finely crafted storyline that you would follow in an attempt to save the galaxy from anything. It really was just explore, gather resources to build a few new things and continue on in that vein. So it got kind of repetitive, and some people kind of complained about it.
Pretty much a different Minecraft. Dude, if I could only,
it's kind of less interesting than Minecraft in reality, because at least in Minecraft, at night you have things coming to kill you, destroy your base. This didn't even have that on some planets.
Yeah, and if I could sue for a game for sucking, can you imagine all the people would sue like Mighty Number 9? Especially for hype wise. But
and it's not even that the game sucked. It's just that people thought it was going to be more than it was, and the game company never really promised that. They just said, we're giving you a quadrillion galaxies to explore, and people kind of assumed that it would mean more than that.
Yeah, I understand. I always wondered because the game concept always kind of interests me. Is like, okay, say if you make a very kind of a hostile planet, you take over it, you domesticate the animals and whatever. But can you start colonizing, like start also invading other planets and just kind of develop an army, kind of like
nope.
Trump's future
none of that's available here. This is really an exploration game where you're just kind of taking pictures, gathering resources. Occasionally, you get some robot fights or some animals are aggressive, or you get an environment that's really kind of tough to survive in. But other than that, a lot of it's flying through space at random planets that you think are interesting and trying to collect resources to upgrade your ship. And that's kind of, and this patch kind of adds a few more features like base building, being a little more creative. And it kind of got me back into the game for about a day. And while I'm playing, I kind of forgot how to play because it had been like a couple months since I picked up the controller for it. So that kind of tells you some of the response to that particular thing. So now on to our next story, though. We have some great news from the PlayStation experience. I mean, these things are some really great announcements. And we're going to begin with...
Sorry about that, guys. I got a little interrupting in my feed. But I was going to say real quick, related to that previous story, I wish there was Biodome. Have you ever watched that movie?
Yeah.
Biodome the game.
This isn't even that interesting.
Oh, yeah, boo. Sorry. Okay, well... If you guys know about the PlayStation, it's happening right now live in Anaheim's PlayStation Experience. Everyone suspected that Crash Bandicoot revival might be in the works, but when the Insane Trilogy was announced at the past E3, people weren't sure what to make of it. According to the latest information that came out of the game from today's PlayStation Experience keynote and follow-up post at the PlayStation blog, the developer Vicarious Visions, or Vision, whatever. It's calling it a remastered plus. They released a beautiful video describing the changes, but essentially 3 Crash Bandicoot games are getting visual and audio upgrades while maintaining the gameplay you loved. So I remember seeing the E3 teaser of it was like the silhouette shadow of Crash Bandicoot coming out with the creator. Then eventually they showed some gameplay, which looks just like the other game. The only thing is, of course, they kind of updated the graphics. Instead of just being a generic PlayStation 1 blocky, kind of like 64 bit kind of graphic kind of thing, now they actually textured. They actually fur on him. You can probably see veins and whatever going on with Crash right now. But it's same gameplay. He still moves the same. He still kind of does that awkward twist back to look at you if you're not playing picking up the controller after.
Yeah, like Sonic would tap his foot, that kind of thing. Yeah.
So it looks fun. It looks as basic. Have you ever played Crash?
I remember playing it very briefly, and I felt like it was a ripoff of Mario's, so it didn't really do anything for me. But I know a lot of people are really huge fans of the Crash Bandicoot. Like they were the PlayStation's Mario. They were that representative. That was their spokesman. So for a real long time, PlayStation, that was the face of PlayStation.
I love the commercials.
Yeah, those commercials where he was standing outside the Nintendo or the Xbox, Microsoft talking smack outside with the microphone. Yeah, those are really big ad campaigns. So there's a lot of nostalgia associated with Crash Bandicoot. It's just not really for me. But I understand how fans are really looking forward to this remastering of these particular games. And the graphic wise, it does look like a good update. I'm just curious how it's actually going to play. If for people it's going to be oh yeah, this I remember this being a lot better than it was. Like these mechanics kind of suck by comparison, and that often happens with these remastered games.
Yeah, it's all about the nostalgia. To be honest, come on, like you get obviously Mario has been around for so many years.
But Mario's also kind of evolved with it because it's been around consistently. Like every video game was a progression in a new way. I mean, even just going from 2D to 3D with Super Mario World 3D? 64, yeah. They went from 2D to 3D World, and that was a huge advancement in video game mechanics and world building. And every single game after that, again, they introduced new outfits, new ways to play Paper Mario. So Mario has constantly been changing and progressing with the times, and Crash Bandicoot hasn't. So it might be a jarring experience for some people, or for the kids, it just might be too hard.
Yeah, because I remember having some tough times in it, but that's the thing. It's a challenging, addictive, fun part of the game. It was just not one of those. It wasn't Mighty Number 9.
Yeah, but you kind of have to be of a certain generation to really appreciate why it has to be hard. I mean, because if you're a kid and you try to play these games, they give up because it's like, oh, they're not giving me directions, they're giving me hints. There's no curve of difficulty that modern games have because they've learned by experience that more people will play it if there's that curve.
Yes.
And older generations like, oh, that's just the way it was because it plays from the arcade world where they wanted it to be a short game, so you would have to keep putting in quarters to continue and trying on, and this kind of plays from that kind of system.
Yeah, it's just gonna be about a time before.
I mean, I hope it's good though.
Oh yeah,
I hope it's great.
Yeah, I liked it. I don't know why it just took forever.
Would you plan to buy it when it comes out?
Crash for a reasonable price? Yes.
Okay.
Yes,
I mean, you're getting 3 games, so
because if it's just the same game, quote unquote remastered, like updated graphics, and that's all it's gonna be.
That's kind of all it looks like it's gonna be.
Yeah. As long as it's a reasonable price, I could see.
What would be okay? So $10 a game. There, I was gonna ask you like, what price point would they need to hit for you to buy these things again? Yeah, so and there it is.
$10 a game, $30 for all 3. Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
Yep. Now on to our next story, a much newer game, Uncharted, Lost Legacy. Now this is more news from PlayStation experience that's happening this weekend. Despite being a fan favorite, Chloe Fraser was completely absent from Uncharted 4. What happened to Chloe after Drake's deception? Looks like we're getting an answer, folks. PlayStation, there was an announcement today, or actually yesterday, that she is getting a new standalone adventure with the women of Uncharted, Chloe and Nadine. The game will be called Uncharted: The Lost Legacy. There's also a beautiful teaser gameplay trailer.
I saw the video. It was kind of a little long, but it was cool because I didn't know. I never played any of the Uncharted games. Period.
The last couple minutes were really awesome, but the first 5, a little slow. I mean, it shows the stealth mechanics that are there. But yeah, the last one's good female ass kicking that they were doing.
A little spoiler for the trailer, so it's not much of a spoiler. I love the concept. Honestly, it involves all Middle Eastern kind of in you're in Iraq kind of thing, like terrorists while things are being bombed. And I thought it was gonna be
I think that's kind of an assumption. We don't know that those guys are terrorists in the story. We're making wild assumptions. They could just be, they could be Jehovah's Witnesses going door to door saying, "Hey, lady, how's it going? Would you like to hear the word of God?" And she's like, "Bam, yeah." We don't know.
But I just love the concept though. If it would have been that game of a Middle Eastern woman fighting back, that would have been just that would have been so cool. Her standing on her own, trying to take back the country that has been taken away from her. It'd be a great storyline. You killed my family, you killed my husband. So she takes up ranks and becomes that super soldiers / woman, just trying to get her country back.
No, that's an absolutely very interesting storyline. I don't think that's what this is.
It's all different things.
Yeah, the Uncharted stories have basically been like Indiana Jones.
Yeah, the first one was adventures. All about treasure hunting.
It's often been compared to Lara Croft as being a male version of Lara Croft, and this time around with the standalone feature, it's kind of a better Lara Croft. In my opinion, this gameplay already looks a lot better than the latest Lara Croft game.
That's what I thought it was, especially because you know how they updated her look and all that. So especially when she took down her little hood, her little hijab or whatever, I thought it was a Lara Croft game. I thought it was Tomb Raider, blah, 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 Afghanistan. But no, it was Uncharted. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, and just instead of being an archaeological looking for a particular artifact, these are more sometimes politically based. So they're more realistic artifact and an adventure collection kind of stuff. the Uncharted series is really popular, especially because of its cinematic nature, like the fight scenes and the things they happen in game engine, and you can play with them within that concept. But it's very, very pretty, very action oriented, and a lot of people are going to look forward to this particular branch of the storyline.
Yeah. Maybe, if I ever pick up a PlayStation 4, I'll probably wind up playing the Uncharted series. Give it a feel. It looks good. All right, more PlayStation news. Well, it has been rumored for a while now. Today we got the official confirmation that The Last of Us is getting a sequel that follows an older Ellie? Okay. Ellie and Joel. Creative director Neil Druckmann confirmed that Ellie will be a playable character in The Last of Us 2. Joel was the star in the first. Ellie is a star in this one, said Druckmann. Eli plays differently from Joel. So I saw the trailer for this. Honestly, it was beautiful. It was like, almost like an acoustic. I don't know what it was in the beginning because all you saw is guitar playing, and I'm like, all right.
Have you never played Last of Us?
No, but okay. I was just going by the trailer. I was thinking, okay, I'm gonna give it a second, and eventually they're gonna rock out, and it's gonna be Guitar Hero 6 or 7 or whatever. But no, it was just her, especially when they panned up and everything. It was just very beautifully done. It could have been a music video. It should have just been in a music video by itself.
No, this is another one of those cinematic story concepts that's very popular these days. A lot of the popularity around this particular game surrounds the in-depth, heart-touching story of a man trying to save a girl during essentially the zombie apocalypse. The zombies are a little different in that they're infected by a pollen or a virus that's based in reality.
Yeah.
There's a real pollen there's a real plant that infects ants and other creatures to turn them into zombies to take that plant to a place where it can grow, and it kind of just takes over their bodies. So it's based on that kind of real scientific concept. And so this is a slightly more realistic version of the zombie apocalypse. So it's really the zombie apocalypse and these communities trying to survive and one man trying to save a girl. That's The Last of Us. And so The Last of Us 2 is her continued storyline because she survives and she has to find her way in the world. And a lot of people were touched by that. It's a very well done storyline. It could be its own. I believe they're making a movie based upon the series. And so this is something a lot of people are looking forward to.
Honestly, especially with the graphics and everything on it, it's almost borderline photorealistic. Like it was almost like how a long time ago when they made that Final Fantasy movie that with the CG was just so good. It's pretty much showing to the point that we're not even going to need actors anymore.
Yeah, game stuff has gone a long way up. Sorry, and this is one of the prettier versions of the game. So I'm looking forward to watching it and seeing it as well. Now on to our next video game story. That's right, folks. We have more.
I'm so happy.
Yep, this one's going to be a beloved fighting franchise. It's been over about 5 years since Marvel vs. Capcom game was released. Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came out in 2011 for the Xbox 360 and PS3, the last generation, folks. And it's now been announced that it's coming out for the PS4 and the Xbox One as the Ultimate Edition. Additionally, that's right, folks, they're teasing you with the new one. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, based on the Infinity Stones. The 8th game in the series will feature multiple play modes, including single-player story mode, 2-on-2 partner battles, arcade mode, online multiplayer, and much, much more. Additionally, characters can be customized by changing their Infinity Stones they use to create different power sets. The trailer is pretty awesome, even though it is kind of a teasy trailer. I thought it looked absolutely beautiful, man. What'd you think of it?
It's all cutscene. It's all just cutscene, video, graphics, and everything. So, of course, that part always looks awesome. But if you played the part 3, it was actually really good. It was very, very comic book centric, especially with the details on it, and especially with this game coming out. It's all about the characters. I want to see what's going to be on this roster. Obviously, the newest character that we see right now is Captain Marvel, if you will. But I didn't really see anybody else on the Capcom side.
They also tease Thanos at the very end of it. Yes. So, they tease him, obviously, with the Infinity Stones. He's going to be a teaser in it. It's a 2017 release date. They don't give any more details for a lot of these trailers than that. But I liked seeing Iron Man. I liked seeing Mega Man, two mech guys versus them both. And so there are some really interesting characters that hopefully we'll get more information on as the year progresses into 2017. But I'm happy to see a new game. I hope it's as good as at least as the latest Street Fighter.
Yes, because the roster is it's all about the amount of characters, especially from the Marvel side. Capcom, I was kind of wondered. Capcom's almost getting to the point of almost slim pickings, if you will, on characters. But even like the old 2D fighting game, I think it was Part 2. They had a pretty big roster because they literally, it was like, what do you call those games? The Mugen games, where these people are doing their like homemade emulated version where they just got all these characters from all these different games and just put them in a mashup one. They even did like a Homer Simpson and Peter Griffin versus like Ken and Ryu kind of thing.
Yeah. These knockoffs without the rights, just because these other fighting games aren't as popular because there are a lot more types of games that are out now. So fighting it, we have a very limited replay value. I mean, outside of like tournament play, or it's one of the you play when you have friends over, when you have a big party, or in a tournament, and that's kind of it. You kind of let it sit there. It doesn't have an amazing storyline mode where you can play for 70, 80, 100 hours like a lot of these RPGs. And so I think that's why it hasn't been as worth it for game companies to make these fighting games as much.
Yeah, that's why hopefully the price point's usually less. Of course, with any new games, it's about $60 or so. Hopefully they'll lower down a little bit for that because
this to me is definitely a good rental. I don't know that I would buy it, but I would definitely rent it to see how it plays.
Oh, yeah.
And if it becomes super popular and fun, then it's a purchase. But at first, I'm going to be a renter.
I think it's going to be all about the downloadable content, and of course, since especially been that gap. They're going to definitely take advantage as much as possible of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and kind of focus more on those characters than even though they got the licensing of like their whole Marvel lineup. I think they're going to focus more on them instead of the X-Men, which sadly, I love the X-Men. I wish there was more X-Men, but I think you're going to see more Avenger-related kind of a character-based things on it. But I can't wait. Still happy. All right. Let's see. Go Power Rangers. Have you seen Alpha 5? Here's Alpha 5's first look at the concept art. IGN got an exclusive first look at Alpha 5 for the new Power Rangers film. The new version of Zordon and the Power Rangers robot assistant, Alpha 5, has a more modern and organic look than uses darker hues of familiar red and blue colors of the original design. So, what's your take? I want to hear your take before I mouth off on what I feel about this guy.
He looks like he has balls on his head. I mean, like their testicles sticking out or headlights.
The headlights, I see balls.
The saucer head just looks odd. I mean, I get that they're going for an organic. We're trying to reboot this whole franchise kind of thing going on.
Very alien, yes.
It doesn't really work for me that much, but you know it doesn't work for me.
I forgot. Remember who was going to voice it too? I think it was one of the SNL alumni cast members. One of the guys was going to voice him. So I don't think you might get that high pitched Alpha that you guys remember. I don't see the classic lightning bolt on his chest kind of thing, the icon. I don't see that anywhere. The whole belly sticking out kind of thing. It reminds me of like the Mac and Me alien, minus him kind of sticking his hands and doing that whistle kind of look. But it looks like it
looks very interesting. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt until I see the actual movie. This is just concept art. It might not be the finished product. They might just be trolling us this entire time.
I don't know.
We don't really know.
Have you seen the toys?
Nope.
Oh god.
Does he look like that in the toys?
Somewhat, especially I'm just going by the Zord because looking at him.
Oh no! They haven't shown the Alpha 5 toy yet.
Not the Alpha 5 toy.
Okay, then I'll give them. We don't know. Yeah. We'll have to either the toys come out or the movie comes out. But this doesn't really do much for me personally. But that's me.
He looks like Iron Man and an alien were like inbreeding like crazy, and that's what came out. So it was just with a traditional flying saucer head, like you said, headlights for eyes.
So if Iron Man and a flying saucer made it together, this would be Alpha 5. Yeah. There you go. I get that. I don't even disagree with you.
I don't even think he has the I don't know. God, it's been a while.
I don't know that he has a mouth.
No, I was gonna say, remember Alpha 5? If I'm right, did he have like the Knight Rider eye kind of that went back and forth?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He had a visor.
It's been a while.
Yeah, so he had a visor. I mean, like I said, it's been a while for both of us. We'll have to watch the movie till it actually comes out. It's not that long though. But in other entertainment news, folks, we have some great leaked photos from the set of The Flash, showing off John Wesley Ships as J. Garrick of Earth 3, with the returning Mark Hamill, who is a very different looking trickster. He actually looks a lot like the Joker, who Hamill famously voiced on Batman the Animated Series. So if you take a look at these picture, folks, tell us what you think. So, man, what do you think?
You say that's not the Joker. Green hair, red lips, white pale face, purple suit. How can you not say that's not the Joker? Oh, let's call him the trickster. But
No, he plays the trickster in the Flash series, and he voiced the trickster, I think, in like the animated series or an older version of the Flash. So he has the character down as far as the rights. I think they're getting around the legal loopholes of saying, "Oh, this isn't the trickster because it's Earth 3 trickster, and he's technically the trickster and not the Joker."
So they're gonna have a deflighter mouse man, like Batmanuel, kind of like from the Tick, kind of deflighter mouse.
Yeah, that's what happens in the series when they have these multiple Earths. Things are slightly different. Like the Flash doesn't exist, like the other guy in the other picture.
Or like in the Simpsons,
he's the Flash. This is the Flash on that Earth, and
that's the original Flash from the TV series.
Yeah, but he's also the Flash's dad on the series.
Yeah, on that Earth 1, if you will. Which is kind of like, like a dickish thing. I'm like, oh, so you're Earth 1? We're not Earth 1? We're only the other Earth?
Because we discovered it first.
No,
yeah,
whatever.
it's very universe-centric. You're right.
Territorial, dimensional.
But I'm happy to see the character because Mark Hamill says on camera all the time, he based his voice for the Joker on this character.
Oh,
so
yeah.
he pulled a lot of the work that went into the trickster, which he did first, for the Joker, for the animated series of Batman. So the characters are kind of related, at least for Mark Hamill in his mind, as far as the voice goes. So it kind of makes sense that they're making homages to the character without officially having to use the licensing for that particular thing.
Yeah, because I remember, was it the animated one? Was it Flashpoint? Was something Gods, if I remember? There was, once again, Earth-related thing. There was the Red Hood, was a Joker, but there was also a Joker, but he was more of not Harley Quinn the girl, but more of a Harley Quinn jester version. But
yeah, that was the Flash.
Joker.
That was the Flashpoint movie.
Yeah,
it was the animated Flashpoint one. Yeah,
and I think his name was Jokester instead of Joker. I think, if I'm right. Yeah. So, but either way, I want to check it out, and that's the vision everybody had for the longest time.
Yeah, I'm happy to see I'm happy to see Mark Hamill come back as much as possible, do as much television, and any version of the Joker that we can see him as, I'd be happy to see, even if they're calling him by a different name.
Mm-hmm. All right. More DC-related news. Deadline reports that Aquaman's solo movie has gotten a release date of October 5, 2018 in both 3D and IMAX. So they got the poster up. And it looks like it was the same promotional kind of stuff somewhat from when they did the Entertainment Weekly covers.
Yeah, the Justice League look. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it looks like a cool film. I'm happy to see Justice League when it comes out, and I'm happy that we finally have a release date for the Aquaman standalone movie. Although the Flash movie is having some serious problems getting a director. Like they keep losing their directors to other projects. And I don't know that they currently have one.
I hope that other project is definitely worth it because
a lot of them are pretty cool, I gotta say. So I understand why they've jumped ship.
Oh, okay.
But this movie already has me a little nervous because it's not the Flash from the television show.
Keep seeing away from it.
And the costume looks a little funky, but it's very much in their universe kind of thing. I can understand they want to differentiate themselves from the Flash television show. But the fact that people are jumping ship doesn't look great.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. In my perfect world or whatnot, obviously they've been giving Kevin Smith opportunities, giving him the Flash episodes. He's doing Supergirl episodes. I just know don't think because of his how would you say his.
I think if he was directing it, he'd have Jason Mewes as the Flash.
Oh yeah, of course. But I think if it was Kevin Smith directing the Flash movie, once again because of his track record with his past films, as long I don't know how well it would ever carry over because once again he even talks about it like all his episodes were mostly dominated talking. There was very less time of
this time though there was a lot of action when you directed the Flash television series this time around, and in Supergirl there's going to be a lot of action in that one as well. So he's learning new things. I think I would love to give it to him just to see what he did with it.
Oh yeah.
But I know a lot of people were hesitant for Kevin Smith to do anything huge like that. But I'm happy. I personally would be happy to see him do it.
I like the Aquaman look. Obviously, we talked about before, especially because of his lineage, if you will, very island centric. So he has like the tribal tattoos and whatnot. It almost looks like a hardcore version of the Maui character from the Moana flick, except that he doesn't have that giant fish hook bone thing. He has his trident.
He has his trident. Okay, on to our next entertainment story. We have, this one is near and dear to my heart, folks. Lionsgate has announced that Hamilton director-creator Lin-Manuel Miranda will be the creative producer for a series of screen adaptations of Patrick Rothfuss's best-selling Kingkiller Chronicle novels. Lionsgate is planning for a feature film adaptation of the first book, along with a TV tie-in that will further explore Rothfuss's universe. So this is an absolutely delight to hear. This is such a great novel series, really popular. I would say almost as popular as Game of Thrones in its own right. So there's definitely the fan base for this type of franchise, heavy magic system, interesting world, and it's really interesting. So I'm happy to see that it's getting a TV and movie adaptation.
Okay, just going by the picture, I'm all thinking like Mandolin, Dark Justice, or something like that. Just once again going by the picture. I haven't read obviously the books, so I have no idea what's going on. I'm more of a visual guy, kind of thing. So it looks cool. What is it? Because I'm just going once again by the picture.
I'd say it's kind of a darkish fantasy story.
Steampunkish of any kind.
No, it's more there is some industrial, but I'd say it's definitely pre-industrial revolution in a fantasy magic world.
Oh, okay.
So it's interesting, and there are some adaptations of magic technology, but a lot of the story centers around just at the beginning it almost feels like a darker version of Harry Potter Goes to Wizard School, but it quickly diverges from that particular path in that the main character gets in some interesting situations, does some not so great things, and they obviously hint at it as a much darker future within the storyline. And so it's a real cool story. I definitely encourage you to go read it, pick it up as an audiobook, if you want a good fantasy dark story and you like this kind of stuff.
Yeah. Give it a try. Can't hurt.
We're on to our trailer showdown, folks. We have 4 trailers that have come out this week that I thought were absolutely amazing. I enjoyed them all, but only 4 enter, 1 wins. We have Death Stranding, the Hideo Kojima game. This was just so weird. I don't think it qualified as a video game trailer. We have Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2, the second trailer. And we also have The Mummy and Rogue One, the very last trailer they have before it comes out in theaters. And so, man, have you seen all 4 trailers?
I think the one I missed out on, to be honest with you, was The Mummy, because I was like, Tom Cruise? It's been a while since we've seen a mummy movie. I don't know if you would consider the Scorpion King flicks a mummy movie.
Not so much. They're prequels. They have their own thing. I don't think there's a mummy in there, is there? No. So no mummy, no mummy movie.
No. But other than the Mummy series with Brendan Fraser, that was the last mummy-related flick that I can think of.
And this one's supposed to be a little more tightly related to the original version of the Mummy, like the black and white.
The slow movie Mummy?
Yeah, the slow movie Mummy. I mean, this movie doesn't have slow movie, but it's supposed to harken back to those monster movies. Like Universal Pictures, this is the first in a series of movies that they're planning to make. They're planning to redo Frankenstein and The Invisible Man and The Creature from the Black Lagoon. And, of course, this one in Dracula.
Okay, The Creature from the Black Lagoon, you haven't seen anything like that in quite a while.
So good reason.
That concept would be really awesome.
Yeah, people don't go to swamps for a reason.
Oh, yeah, that would freak me out. Because especially with today's makeup effects, CG effects, creepy storyline. It'll make it awesome.
I think Jaws did the same thing, like the suspense of an underwater creature you can't see killing people, a lot better than people can do with the Creature from the Black Lagoon, for the reason that CGI makes it so that people want to see the creature a lot sooner than suspense dictates. Like, the beautiful thing about Jaws was that you didn't see the creature for most of the film. You just saw the effects, people disappearing underwater. So it was the fact that you couldn't see the monster that made it so interesting and fascinating. And since Jaws came out, they've tried to redo the shark movie again, and it never works as well because you see the monster too soon. Yeah, they try to CGI it up and pump up those effects and make it gory, and it's not the same suspenseful feeling. And so I feel like they would do the same thing with the creature from the Black Lagoon.
Yeah, it's no Sharktopus.
But yeah, the mummy one is interesting. So of the 4, which one did you like the best though?
Gotta go with Guardians. Guardians for sure. It's entertaining. It honestly it pushed almost pushed the envelope a little bit. Like if they wanted to, they really don't have to at all. They could have gone R. They could have gone R for raunchiness, whatever. Because there's some he literally calls people a-holes, and I'm like, oh, okay, Disney, all right, cool. Yeah. And then talking about sexual feelings towards people, I was like, oh wow, okay, Disney. I'm like,
I was hoping that they would still be able to hit those comedic, interesting, close knit friend kind of feeling that you have, and they did. From the trailer, I think they were. I was kind of worried that they wouldn't be able to do it and recreate the magic, and it seems like they might have.
I think they definitely made a Dave Bautista the God, what's his name again? Green dude.
The Hulk? I mean, he's not
Hulk with the red tattoos.
Oh, you mean his character?
I
don't know.
Oh, God damn it. But anyway, him.
We'll see his name in a little bit.
Yeah,
Hold on.
Him. They made him more
Drax.
Drax. Thank you. They made him more hilarious. He has more personality compared to the first one. He was kind of semi. I think that was the whole concept of his character, being semi-serious, but serious in a delusional way. Like, I'm gonna take out Thanos. I'm like, dude, you cannot kill Thanos. But I got knives / sword thingies. No, you cannot kill Thanos with their knife sword thingies. But so now he's kind of could just joke and laugh at people. He laughs at Star-Lord. They got these almost inside joke relationships among each other. Like, ha ha ha, you have a boner, kind of a joke. And it's like, dude, really? But it's so good, so good. And of course, all for all the little ones, that everybody's all about the cutesy wootsy kind of things. It's all about little baby Groot. Now that he's grown up, now it's kind of like a toddler Groot, if you will.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I agree with you on every single point that you made, man. I think this is the clear winner of the 4. I think a close runner-up would probably be the weird-ass trailer that is Death Stranding. It is... I mean, this is the second trailer from Hideo Kojima for his game. And he's a great video game designer. Really great work that he did with Konami. He left it, made his own video game company. But he's making this weird-ass movie. His first trailer had Norman Reedus from The Walking Dead. This one seems to... Yeah. It's a weird side-punk future apocalyptic thing that just screams creepy as hell. And this one has a guy who looks a lot like Guillermo del Toro, or maybe George R.R. Martin.
Fat bearded dude.
Fat bitter dude. And another creepy baby thing going on there. And you have to see it to believe it, folks. But that would definitely come second in the most interesting of these 4. So those are our 2 winners this week, folks. We have Guardian of the Galaxy and Death Stranding. The other 2 were okay. The Mummy was short. The Mummy reminded me a lot of Queen of the Damned.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like the way they made her look super exciting and interesting. It's a girl mummy.
Oh.
Yeah. And Rogue One was interesting. I'm not really interested in seeing trailers anymore. I'm interested in seeing the movie. Yeah, it's not that far away. I'll wait. So that's why the other 2 ones for me.
With Death Stranding, honestly, I want Hideo Kojima to make an actual alien movie.
There might be aliens in here.
Probably, because as weird
or something
as it is, literally do an alien brand name alien movie. The whole I think his take on it would be pretty.
There is a very similar art style to it, like this real creepy tentacly techno thing going on in that video game. But again, these are trailers. We have nobody has an idea what kind of video game it actually is. So to me, it feels like an art piece, a trailer instead of a video game. So that's it for the show, though, folks. We're done. That's it. If you like the podcast, you want to support us, you can do so at
geekbytespodcast.com/support.
Absolutely. But for the podcast, that's it. Thanks for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening and watching us talk about the geeky things that we two guys love, man.
Our Sunday episode. And remember, once again, the PlayStation experience is happening right now in Anaheim. If you happen to have a PlayStation 4 or even go to YouTube, there's probably a live streaming event happening right now. So there's probably more games, more teasers, and a lot more VR from what I saw from the last experience video.
Absolutely. But for Geek Bytes Podcast, though, that's it. I'm Ramon Mejia.
I'm Edgar Acosta.
Remember, folks, go geek out about something.
So they're going to contact you, or you have to contact them?